Hey guys, okay, about a month ago, um, my sister made a video of how she got custody of her siblings after her mom died. I am the 16-year-old sibling that that was there during the time of things going down, but I'm gonna give you guys my experience in the situation of the custody stuff and everything like that, how I experienced it in my 16-year-old mind. So we'll start back from the day my mama died. The day my mom died, um, we'll we'll just say I was a typical 16-year-old because when she passed away, I was 16. I was a typical 16-year-old. Thought I knew everything, and you know, just wanted to be a wild child, but I couldn't really be a wild child because she kind of did have me on lock. But I still snuck and did things as a typical teenager, like I said. So that morning of my mom's death, we had like a little petty argument over a phone book that she moved, and she said that I did it, but we argued back and forth about it because I knew I hadn't touched her phone book, and so we're gonna put it out there. She found her phone book. It was in her room, and like I said, I didn't touch it. I didn't get an apology, but it's all good because at that time, as a 16-year-old, I just wanted her to be quiet and stop, talking to me and yelling and all that good stuff, and just leave me alone. Because first of all, I'm about to sneak off and go somewhere you told me not to go. So in my 16-year-old mind, this is what I want to do. So it's like, yeah, going on with all that. I don't want to hear no more. I just want to go and have fun like I planned to do or whatever. I had asked before, could I go to this place that she told me I couldn't go to? And she told me no, but I wanted to go anyway. So I went on ahead and I came up with a lie with a couple of friends, and she fell for it. We went on ahead and made plans, and we, you know, got ready to go for our little adventure or whatnot. And so, in the midst of this argument, um, I remember later on that day, right before I got ready to leave to go do whatever it is I wanted to do on my little adventure, she also had choir rehearsal. So after the argument happened and everything, we kind of just walked around the house and just brushed it off or whatever. Like I said, there was no apologies. There was just complete silence and, walking around the house, doing whatever she was doing and doing whatever I was doing. And so it came the time for us to leave. And I remember her saying goodbye, and I don't, because I'm 16, I'm just like, whatever, I'm finna go. So wasn't thinking twice of, that this gonna be the last time I see my mom living, what I'm saying? Next time I would see her would be in a casket. So fast forward, I leave to go for my little adventure, but I never make it to it because the rides got mixed up some kind of way. So didn't get to go, but I did get somewhere, and I got stranded there and had to wait for a ride to come and get me. Now, I wasn't by myself. It's me and my cousin. But we were supposed to be meeting up with some other friends that we had told this lie with or whatever, about this adventure. So we get stuck in Ocala, Florida. It took place in Ocala, Florida. And we ended up spending the night over in Ocala, because the ride hadn't came through yet or whatnot. So the next morning, I get a phone call, from my brother or whatnot, and he tells me the news or whatnot. So I get back home, and you do all the things you have to do for a funeral and all that good stuff. So now you got family coming in, friends coming in, all this good stuff. Now, my dad, which is the father who she was talking about that came to the funeral but left and didn't, come up with anything about how we were going to take care of the kids or how we were going to do with the kids or whatnot. So my dad came to the house. I remember him standing there talking to my sister, and me at 16 years old, this is what I'm thinking when I see him, and I'm just like, oh man, he coming to take us away. Mind you, I don't want to go. I don't want to go away. I want to stay with my sister. And this is not something she coached me to feel or anything. She didn't know how I felt at the moment of seeing her standing there talking to my dad. And I'm just like, I do not want to go with him. I want to stay, with my family or whatnot. So that's what I'm thinking in my mind at 16, is that he's coming to take us away, and I don't want to go because I have friends here. All my family that I know is here in my hometown where my mom resides. And so I didn't want to go and live with my dad. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, 9 times out of 10 when parents pass away, they usually go to the next parent if they're not together. And I knew that much, but I didn't want to go with my dad. So I wanted to stay there with my sister. And I remember turning around and running into 2 people. One was a cousin and one was more of a friend of the family or whatever at the time. And I remember telling them, I don't want to go. I don't want to go with my dad. I don't want to go with my dad. And they was just like, well, they really didn't have anything to say at that time. It's, they just was like, well, just, talk to your sister and see what she say or whatnot. And I'm just thinking worst case scenario, what I'm saying? I'm like, he's gonna let him take us or whatever. And that's what I was thinking the whole entire time. And I was scared, I was sad, I was like going through it. So now we'll skip to the funeral. We get to the funeral, and then I see my dad and I see him and his wife together. So now I'm really freaking out because I'm like, oh man, he done brought his wife with him. Now they really came to take us back with them. And I'm just like, I don't want to go. So I'm sick to my stomach at the funeral. I'm scared because I done lost my mom. I don't know what I'm going to do. Second, I done lied to my mom. And now she done died on me. And I can't even say I'm sorry. Third thing is that, oh my God, my dad is here with his wife. And they coming to take me and my sisters and brothers away from my sister. And that's not what I want. So in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm finna run away. I'm gonna steal my sister and brother, so that way, if he can't take me, then he can't take the others and all kind of stuff. And so I didn't want to go. I didn't know him like that. I wanted to be with my sister. So I prayed, I cried, I talked to people, and it just was not something I wanted to do. I didn't want to go with him. And I'm so glad that God seen fit to have me stay with my sister, because that's what I wanted at the time. That's what I needed. I didn't need to go somewhere where I didn't know nobody and it would just be a total different environment for me at a traumatizing time as it was at that moment. So while she was like, no, I don't want you to, when he came to her and said, I'm going to take the kids with me, and she was like, oh man, I don't want you to take my sisters and brothers away from me. In my heart, in my mind, that's how I felt. I didn't want to go away from her. I did not want to go with my dad. I didn't. And once the funeral was over, and you know how everybody get together after the funeral, that we pass or whatnot, and they party at the house afterwards. When I didn't see them there, I was so happy and so relieved that they was gone. I didn't want to see their face because it scared me. It terrified me because I didn't want to be taken away. And so for me at 16 years old, losing my mom and then having the scare of actually going with my dad after she passed away was terrifying for me. So, just like she didn't want us to go, I didn't want to go. I don't know how the younger ones would have felt, but I know I didn't want to go. I didn't know that I didn't have a relationship with him or anybody at that time to be like, oh yeah, I'll go and stay with my dad or whatnot. It just was not something I felt like I wanted to do. And so, yeah, that's what was going through my mind at 16 years old, dealing with that situation, and was very happy and relieved once my sister grabbed up us and all our things and we went back to her home with her. I was ecstatic. I was happy because that's where I wanted to be. I don't want to be nowhere else. So that's my story of being the 16-year-old at the time of my mom's death and my sister getting custody of me. I didn't know anything about having to go to court and all that good stuff about the situation. I thought that it was something that was going to happen instantly, and didn't know that it took some time before he would actually be able to get us or whatnot, because he would have had to, go through some things. But I'm glad I got my prayer answered and I got to stay with her. That's what I wanted. So that's my story. Feel free to comment, like, and share. Thank you guys.